In this tape, you will study about the bow. Now, the bow was one of Morihei Ueshiba Sensei's favorite weapon because he was a master at this before he developed Aikido. Now, this bow is about 4 foot long, 1 inch thick. Now, just imagine that you have a pipe wrench and you can't move the pipe. But if you added a 4 foot length of pipe on the end of it, how much power you would have. And now, also, we use this for thrusting. We use this for striking. We also use it to throw someone. So with this extra strength that we have from this leverage, this is Aikido. Now, we usually teach the staff arts only to the advanced students because they must know something about the arts. And if they don't know anything about the arts, then they are defeating themselves completely. And so Aikido with the staff will show you that your mind goes far beyond the physical.
Now we'll teach a bow kata. Remember, the bow is also referred to as jo, the 4-foot wooden staff that Master Ken Ota explained. Steve Ota will now demonstrate at full speed the bow form, or kata. This formal exercise will familiarize you with the techniques of this wooden staff. Let's look at it again at full speed.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
Each series of
10, 11,
movements is
12,
counted out.
13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 1.
As you can see, it encompasses numerous techniques. Now let's break the kata down slowly so you can master each movement. This is the time to follow along when it's performed in slow motion. Each blocking, parrying, and striking technique will be demonstrated and explained fully. Right now it's shown in continuous motion. Remember, the bow staff is an extension of your Aikido techniques. It gives added leverage to your circular motions. You're learning an authentic bow form as taught in Japan. Now, step-by-step techniques. The kata will be broken down thoroughly so you can master each important movement. The bow staff is approximately 4 feet, solar plex height. It's made of solid oak, approximately 2 inches in diameter. If you go to Japan, you'll see the Japanese police carry them. The first technique, stepping out, thrusting. Notice how the lead hand guides the direction of the staff. Look at it from the side. holding the tip. Twist as you strike. Striking throat area. Again, use the lead hand to guide the staff. Come back, head block. When you thrust and twist, it's to drive in the staff. Also, the twist will help from him grabbing the staff. If he grabs the end, the twist will twist it out of his hands. This is important. Now look at the application. Always come back with the block. Strike solar plexus or throat. Stepping back, sidestep away from the strike. Look at it from another angle now. Strike, away from the force. Stepping back, headlock. The opponent has a bokken, or wooden sword, to simulate a samurai sword. The next series of movements. Stepping in, 2 strikes to the temple. Follow along. Try and master this kata to enhance your Aikido training. Step in right foot, strike around to the temple, step in left foot, strike temple. Quickly. Notice the erect posture in good form. Always maintain your center or key energy source. This was thoroughly explained in tape 1. Look at the application. Striking to the head. The opponent with the bokken defends. The next series of techniques. Striking low, striking high, coming back with the head block. From this temple strike, strike low, high, always coming back to a guard. Done quickly. Now the application. Strike low, high to the solar plexus or throat, step back, block. Always sidestepping the overhead strike. Quickly. These techniques are many hundreds of years old.
Go.
And full speed. Next series of movements. Temple strike, temple strike. Notice how he holds the lower half of the bow. The transition is twist from one strike to the other over the top of your head. Application against the boken. Block low, strike high. Next series of techniques. Study each group of techniques separately, then put them in the proper order and you have the whole form. Don't try and learn it all at once. Break it down. Let's look at the application. Block the boken down. Use the bow or jo staff, strike the throat. Very simple and effective technique. Block and counter. Quickly. Always practice slow, then fast. Next series. Follow along at this point. Head strike, stab, head block. Temple strike or block. Follow. Stabbing technique. In the stabbing techniques, you work the point or blunt end of the stab. Watch carefully. Head strike, stab, back guard position. Always take a protective posture. Quickly. Next series of techniques. Step back, thrust downward, back to guard position. Head strike, draw the bow back, and guard. Quickly. Now for the application. Attacker strikes at your head, you draw back away from the force, block as you draw away. Notice the perfect form of Sensei Steve Ota. Now for the next series. Block, counter, thrust. Application against the bokken. Strike the head or block and counter thrust the throat. You must know the reason behind each technique. It makes no sense to just do the technique without understanding its true meaning. Next series of techniques. Flip the bow, stab, retract, block. You cannot learn these techniques in one day. Play the tape over and over, study them daily. And within a couple months, you'll have the bow form. Now for the application. Coming from the last movement, flip the bow around, thrust the solar plexus, come back, protect your head. Very simple movement. Now for speed, realistically. On this set, we step back, head strike, and down on one knee. As you step down, draw the bow back. The application is to get out of the force of the bokken strike and draw down into a posture. Now, as you come out of the down position, block, counter stabbing with the blunt end of the staff. Block or foot sweep, counter. Many of these techniques can be applied to a street situation. If you're assaulted and you can grab a stick nearby, the techniques of Aikido might save your life. Watch again. Using the bow to foot sweep, counter, rib cage, throat, temple. And again. Flip, stab. And block or strike under the chin. There's variations for each technique. Stab solar plexus. Uppercut the chin, or block, and back. Flip, strike, strike. Begin again, quickly. That's all the movements broken down. Now let's put them all together again at full speed. Only do it full speed when you have each movement 100% correct. It's a very dynamic Aikido form. Now, in slow motion. This is the time for you to follow. Notice how the staff flows, continuous motion. Sensei Steve Oda is in full command. Flawless execution. Very few people in the world have seen the staff techniques of Aikido. You are very fortunate. This is a little shown aspect of the art. Now for the defensive techniques of the bow. You have the bow, and your assailant tries to disarm you. Rather than hitting him on the head or trying to strike him, you use his force against him. This is the philosophy of Aikido. Defensive art. Only using force to stop the opponent, not to severely injure him. Use of the bow is an extension of your empty hand techniques. Watch. The opponent grabs the end of the staff, tries to struggle with it. Sensei Oda redirects his force, driving him to the ground. He uses his own force against the attacker. Another technique. Redirect, keeping the bow low and sending the opponent off guard and off balance in a forward roll. Watch closely. Your opponent must be skilled in proper falling techniques as taught on tape 1. Harmony. You must work together and go with the technique. Don't try and resist or else you'll get hurt. The next technique. Raising the bow high and quickly bringing it down to create the force of throwing. Watch. Leading your opponent. When working the bow, you must concentrate your center, your energy force down to bring your opponent over. You are always in control of the situation with your key or center life force. All energy flows from this area. located 2 inches below the navel, lower abdomen. This technique will certainly confuse your opponent. Bringing the staff over your head, spinning your opponent around, and taking him to the ground. Watch carefully. Notice how the opponent reaches up for the bow. As he starts moving, he wants to hold tighter, so he won't lose control. But this is just what you want him to do. And watch the centrifugal force created as the opponent goes flying. Using the bow staff helps you realize your energy force, the leverage you do have. Always maintain good form and follow through with the staff. Look at it from the front, raising the bow, bringing it sharply down, sending the assailant or opponent over. Remember, do not attempt this tape unless you've mastered all prior tapes, tape 1 through 4. The bow staff is advanced. Look at the leverage and height it gives you when throwing an opponent. When you know how to use your leverage, you can respond with little effort to an attacker. Now, Sensei Steve Ota fakes the opponent. As he runs to grab the weapon, he goes around, catches him from behind. The opponent's running momentum adds to the fall. Watch. This is Aikido, using the opponent's force against himself. You must know how to fall properly. Now, what happens when you must defend against bow attacks? Sensei Steve Ota will show you the proper techniques. Just reversing the procedure now. Redirecting the assailant with the bow. Again, using his energy force against himself, causing him to create his own destruction. Watch again. You should be writing down every movement. In slow motion now. As the attacker thrusts inward, sidestep. Avoid the strike, catch the bow, keep the momentum going. You're the one who directs the whole movement. Instead of sidestepping, you use a circular motion and quickly bring him back in a different direction. Step away, keep going, 180 degrees, then forward, creating the momentum and force to flip the opponent. Control the weapon at all times.
Yeah!
slow motion. Again, the bow could be a knife, a chain, a club. These techniques apply to most weapons. Watch. As he swings wildly at Sensei Steve Oda, Sensei Oda gets behind the opponent, redirects his force, and holds him in a wrist lock. Slowly, controlling the weapon, bringing the right arm high, taking him down across the neck, taking the weapon away, securing the wrist lock. The technique again in slow motion. Staying just out of range of that swinging club. Again, it could be a chain, could be a tire iron. Getting behind at the opponent's weakest point. Using circular movements to drive him off balance and down. Always keeping control of the weapon hand. Then he disarms his opponent. Watch again. Look at the perfect timing. Now in, quickly, like lightning. Control of the opponent. Redirect, completely off balance, and he's down on the cement. But of course, in the training hall, it's a mat. But out on the street, it's cold concrete. Look at that one again. Turning with the strike, catching the weapon hand, flipping over the head. Notice how the Aikido practitioners, student and teacher, show no anger or aggression. They show harmony, they work together. This is Aikido. Aikido builds character. The last thing an Aikido practitioner wants to do is use his art. He will only do it if his life is in danger or his loved ones. But I feel sorry for the one that it has to be used against. Look at it closely. Proper hand techniques, follow through. Another technique against a very aggressive attack. Sidestep, control the weapon, short circle, another short circle, technique completed. Circular movements, creating centrifugal force. Before your opponent can realize what's happening, he's on the ground. Watch closely. He doesn't just lower the stick, he lowers his whole upper body weight. He lowers his center, his energy force. Watch it in slow motion. Feel the power being generated. controlling, leading his opponent, extending his internal energy into the universe. Very simple, reverse arm lock. Watch closely. As the thrust comes in, sidestepping away from the force of the strike, using the bow against the attacker again, applying pressure to his elbow. Watch. Holding the wrist with the right arm, and Sensei pushes down with his right elbow onto the elbow joint of his opponent. This is very effective against a knife being stabbed at the stomach. Sidestep the knife and disarm. Another flipping movement. All the master does is continue his opponent's force against himself. Sidestep, control the weapon. Grab the weapon. Raise the end high, down sharply and forward. Now, Aikido Bo or Jo Kata number 2. Watch closely. First master the first kata, then go on to this form. Notice the twirling movements it incorporates. Now look at it in slow motion and try to memorize each movement. Again, play the tape back and over again until you've learned each section. Sensei Steve Oda is doing it very slow enough for you to follow along. Be aware of all the fine details, all the fine points. How he holds the bow, which foot steps forward first or back. Again, full speed,
2,
counting cadence.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, one.
Bokata number 2, again in slow motion. The bokken is another weapon used in Aikido training. The bokken is a wooden sword. It simulates the samurai sword. It is used in training to avoid injuries. Notice how it is firmly held with both hands. The right hand in front, the left at the bottom. When held out front, it is chin height. It is held in the same manner as a real samurai sword. Many of the Aikido techniques come from the samurai slashing and circular movements. The bokken is used, as you saw earlier, against the bo or jo. These are the primary weapons used in Aikido training. They are usually reserved for the upper belts, the students who have reached the Dan or black belt rank. In Aikido, ranks under Dans, under the Dan rank, are called kyus. The following is a bokken, kata, or form at full speed. Now the Boken Kata in slow motion. Follow along. Head striking and thrusting. As you can see, there's much samurai spirit in Aikido training with the introduction of the Boken. Boken Kata full speed again.
Yay! Yay! Yay!
That's the speed it should be done once you master each important movement. Now again, step by step. Take a guard. Right foot forward. Right hand on top. Down strike. Step left foot forward, turn, thrust forward into the heart. Turn to the back, down strike. Step right foot forward, same stab forward. Now directly to the side. Hold it high. Ready position and step. Concentrate on your form. Every movement is held so you can follow along and master each technique. We hope you have enjoyed Tape 5, Techniques of the Bow or Wooden Staff. You are now ready for Tape 6, Aikido Defensive Techniques Against Multiple Attackers. This is a most dynamic and exciting tape, but it should not be attempted unless you know all the techniques on Tapes 1 through 5 of Master Oda's Aikido series. We look forward to seeing you on Tape 6. Good luck.